Unlike most of my field, I haven't always been a strong academic. Even now, I still feel like an imposter getting my master's. My joy for learning was deadened early on as my relationship with sight words and complex sentences became increasingly tempestuous, and my math skills struggled. As a student, I would be overcome with anxiety when my teacher would call my name to read aloud in class, or on the other side of that same coin, I would feel punished or excluded when they wouldn't call my name because I wasn't a quick learner. I remember a pivotal shift in my relationship with academia when I was in high school. My high school was known for three things: being rich, having exemplary standardized test scores, and our college acceptance rates. At the end of my sophomore year, my language arts teacher encouraged me to sign up for the AP Language and Composition class for my junior year. Flummoxed by her recommendation, I thought she couldn't possibly mean me. I still routinely misspelt words, and my Lexile level was nowhere near college readiness. To my dismay at the time, my teacher had also sent a letter to my parents telling them of her recommendation. They insisted that I enroll, so I reluctantly signed up and was given a list for summer readings to complete. The first day of my junior year, I sat in front of a short brunette woman, and the words, "Welcome to AP Language and Composition," were written on the board behind her. My teacher didn't waste any time with introductions or casual conversation, and instructed us to retrieve our book, Cry the Beloved Country. I remember looking around the room and seeing only one black student in our class. My school was over half white students, but I still expected to see more students of color than the one black student that sat in the corner. At the time, I didn't think much of it, but now I recognize the systematic oppressions that our public school system required for students to be in AP classes. Our AP class costs additional money, and students had to be recommended by a teacher to enroll, and students had to meet a minimum GPA requirement. These requirements ultimately kept students of color from enrolling in the class. Unfortunately, as the semester continued, my teacher became increasingly harsh in the classroom, and the colonialism that plagued the characters in our novel also plagued our classroom. Each paper I turned in came back littered with red marks, questions were answered condescendingly, and we were never asked to connect our classroom content with our own experiences. Being a good student meant to be good at memorizing information and regurgitating that information on command. Although our course content brought up interesting questions about racism, discrimination, wealth, power, and marginalized people, our classroom was its own bubble, isolated from what the other English students were doing and unconcerned with larger societal issues. We weren't prodded to make social change or question the status quo. Reflecting on this experience, I'm disheartened by the missed opportunity that this class had. Instead of empowering us to be critical and complex thinkers and change agents, we focused on standardized testing. Unless a topic or skill served to boost our test scores, it was overlooked. My learning experience didn't encourage me to evaluate our larger community and actively sought to maintain the status quo. When it came to topics regarding diversity, there was a persistent colorblindness that influenced us as we adopted a don't ask, don't tell policy. Those who upset the social order of our classroom were marginalized and punished. Our instructor would shame us by telling the questioner that the question was off topic and distracting, or if the student persisted, they were simply ignored. We were taught that we were morally neutral and our successes were based off of merit. My schooling gave me no training in seeing myself as an oppressor, as unfairly advantaged, or as a participant in damaging culture. Understanding my educational past now allows me to recognize why I still feel like an imposter some days. I was conditioned to compete with my peers and legitimize oppressive behaviors. Only through the dismantling of this destructive mentality have I learned that competition is the enemy of learning, and questioning is the catalyst to change. As I move forward in my academic and teaching career, I recognize the importance of sharing power with students and actively seeking to raise lesser heard and marginalized voices. I understand that I need to hold students to high standards while also being critical of the feedback I provide to them. I want to inspire students to discuss their lives and how it connects with the content we're learning. I can only do this by building relationships and accessing students' funds of knowledge. I will avoid comparing students at all costs and shifting my pedagogical practices away from colonial and meritocratic ideals. As a teacher, I recognize that I have power, and I can use my power to shape young minds and teach critical thought, as well as share my power to empower my students to create change.